Welcome to Grand Prix, your go-to channel for the fastest updates in Formula One. We've got 3 hot stories for you, so make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell to stay ahead of the pack. Let's get started. After 3 days of preseason testing in Bahrain, several teams have already demonstrated strong pace and competitiveness. McLaren emerged as the dominant force, while Ferrari, Red Bull, and Mercedes positioned themselves within the leading pack. However, some teams remained more discreet, with their performance yet to impress, and one of them was Sauber, the team of Brazilian rookie Gabriel Bortoleto. So what are your expectations for Bortoleto and his team this season? Will Sauber show significant improvement, or does their 2025 car suggest another tough year at the back of the grid? Looking back, Sauber finished last in the 2024 Constructors' Championship, struggling with a severely uncompetitive car for most of the season. Only in the final few races, after floor and suspension upgrades, did they begin to close the gap to their rivals, managing to score a few points. These late-season updates served as an early test for their 2025 concept, providing a baseline for further development. For the 2025 season, Sauber's primary goal has been to make their car easier to drive while expanding its operational window. By improving setup flexibility, the team hopes to make the car more adaptable across different circuits and track conditions, avoiding the limitations and setup constraints that plagued them last year. One of the biggest changes in the new car is at the front, where a completely redesigned suspension system aims to increase front-end grip in both corner entry and exit, an area where the 2024 car severely struggled. Last season, Valtteri Bottas and Zhou Guanyu frequently complained about the car's unpredictable handling, making it difficult to push at the limit. Additionally, the 2025 Sauber features major aerodynamic upgrades, including more refined side pods and a redesigned engine cover with a more aggressive shape. These changes signal that the team is not simply waiting for the next regulation cycle. They are actively working to make gains in this final year under the current regulations and hopefully compete for points more consistently. Throughout preseason testing, Sauber's focus was on extensive data collection, running the car in various configurations to understand how it reacts to different setups. This approach meant their drivers sacrificed valuable track time, especially rookie Gabriel Bortoleto, who is still adapting to Formula One machinery. However, this data is expected to be crucial in fine-tuning the car ahead of the first race in Australia. Speaking about the car, veteran driver Nico Hülkenberg was honest in his assessment, stating that the team is not entirely happy with its current performance. More work is needed to make the car competitive, particularly in stability and balance. However, he also acknowledged that every team is facing similar uncertainties, as the true pecking order will only become clear once the first race weekend unfolds. Overall, Sauber's early testing results were not particularly promising, as the car still struggles with balance and handling issues, making it difficult to extract consistent performance. However, compared to last year's model, the C45 does appear to be a step forward, potentially allowing Sauber to fight closer to the midfield rather than being stuck at the very back. With 1 week remaining before the season opener, the team's engineers have a critical task ahead, analyzing all the collected data and working to resolve key issues, such as corner exit instability and setup flexibility. Given the amount of testing information gathered, it would not be surprising to see Sauber make noticeable improvements by the time the first race begins. So, with all this in mind, what do you think? Will Bortoleto's Sauber remain at the bottom of the grid, or do you expect them to take a step forward and fight more competitively in 2025? Share your thoughts. During preseason testing, Red Bull's new car fell short of being the fastest on the grid, with McLaren and Ferrari consistently ahead and the team battling Mercedes for third place. This was a surprising shift compared to previous seasons, where Red Bull entered the year as the clear favorite. However, on the final day of testing, the team introduced its first major upgrade package of the season, leaving them with limited time to evaluate all the new components. Instead of chasing fast lap times, Red Bull's primary focus was data collection, allowing their engineers to analyze and fine-tune the car before the first race. So what can we expect from Red Bull in the early stages of the season? Insights from Red Bull advisor Helmut Marko provide a clearer picture of where the team currently stands, especially in comparison to McLaren, which impressed throughout testing. According to Marko, data gathered from testing suggests that Red Bull is currently 0.2 to 0.3 seconds per lap slower than McLaren, which emerged as the team to beat. He highlighted McLaren's exceptional tire management as one of the key performance differentiators at the moment. Despite this, Marco remains confident that four teams, McLaren, Ferrari, Mercedes, and Red Bull, will be competitive in the fight for podiums during the opening rounds of the season. He also acknowledged that the competitive order could shift throughout the year as teams bring continuous upgrades. However, based on all available data so far, McLaren stands out as the early season favorite, boasting the most well-balanced and high-performing car on the grid. This marks a notable change from previous seasons, where Red Bull entered the first race as the dominant force. Now, with McLaren appearing to have taken the lead, the team's early season challenge will be playing catch-up while ensuring they stay within striking distance. A 0.2 to 0.3 second gap per lap may not seem significant at first glance, but over the course of a race weekend, this difference can add up to several seconds, potentially costing Red Bull front-row starts or crucial track position in races. With this in mind, do you think Red Bull's season could start off on the back foot due to this performance gap? Will the defending champions be able to quickly turn things around? Or are we witnessing a genuine power shift at the front of the grid? Share your thoughts. As the 2025 Formula One season approaches, Ferrari remains surrounded by uncertainty regarding the true performance of its new challenger, the SF25. While the car showed glimpses of potential during pre-season testing in Bahrain, it also revealed areas that require urgent improvements, particularly at the rear, which appears unstable in certain situations, struggling to match the front-end grip and responsiveness. This imbalance has raised concerns within the team, as an inconsistent rear end could prove to be a major weakness throughout the season, especially on circuits that demand high levels of stability under acceleration and cornering. Now, Ferrari is fully focused on fine-tuning the setup of the SF25, particularly after the significant design changes it underwent from 2024 to 2025. The updates affected weight distribution, aerodynamics, gearbox configuration, and overall chassis dynamics, meaning the team must optimize all these elements before the first race in Melbourne. Despite the pre-season struggles, both Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton have remained cautious in their predictions. Leclerc, in particular, stated that it will only be possible to accurately assess the car's true performance once it hits the track in Melbourne, where track conditions will be more representative of a typical race weekend. Although the SF25 did not immediately impress Ferrari's drivers during testing, the team left Bahrain with a wealth of valuable aerodynamic data, and early analysis did not reveal major structural issues. However, the primary focus now is on the mechanical aspects of the car, particularly the need to improve rear stability and cornering consistency. To tackle these issues, Ferrari has shifted its focus to intensive simulator work. Reports suggest that Leclerc and Hamilton spent 3 consecutive days this past week at Maranello, working closely with the engineers to test and refine different setup configurations. Encouragingly, the correlation between the car's on-track behavior and simulator data has been near perfect, allowing the team to experiment with different adjustments in a controlled environment before committing to final race setups. Ferrari expects the first 3 races of the season to serve as a benchmark for development, as they will take place on very different types of circuits. This will allow the team to determine whether the SF25 is adaptable to a variety of track conditions or if its weaknesses will persist across different layouts. The ultimate goal is to gradually enhance the car's consistency while working to minimize its most critical performance limitations. The Scuderia's ambitions remain high, with the clear objective of fighting for both the Constructors' and Drivers' Championships this season. However, to seriously challenge Red Bull, McLaren, and Mercedes, Ferrari must ensure that their car remains competitive across different conditions and that they can extract maximum performance in key moments. The big question now is, will Ferrari finally have a car capable of sustaining a season-long title fight, or will they once again fall short as the year progresses? Could the SF25 develop into a true championship contender, or will ongoing issues with rear stability hold them back from reaching their full potential? Let us know your thoughts.